G'day there everyone, Daniel Anderson here. Welcome to Module 3 of our Microsoft 365 e-signature course, where we're stepping through the process of how we can unlock the potential of Microsoft 365 to facilitate all of your e-signature processes. Now, by the end of this course, you're going to be able to streamline your agreement, your hiring, your contract, your invoicing processes, or anything else that requires signatures on a particular document, while automating so many manual tasks that are going to save you valuable time and also reduce the error or the risk of error in those processes as well. Now, each one of these sessions builds on top of the other, but the beauty about this is each one is also independent of each other. So you can just watch one of these or consume one of these modules, and you can take that learning and then apply that into some other process that you have. Now, we're just going to have a quick little recap into modules 1 and 2, and then we'll dive into this module number 3. So remembering back to module 1, we have this flow that we created where we are creating an item in a Microsoft list. We then use the DocuSign connector and the create envelope action, where we're creating our envelope inside of the DocuSign ecosystem. We're then grabbing the contents of a file that we're storing in a SharePoint document library. So we're using the beauty of the benefits of using SharePoint and its document management capabilities here by storing our templated documents in there. So we're getting the contents of that file. We're then adding that to an envelope. We're then adding the recipient to the envelope. Now, the recipient was added at the top of the flow when we're creating a list item. So that's all automated as well. And then what we're using is the add tabs for recipient action here, where we can insert the DocuSign signature tab in the document to replace a certain anchor string that we've set up there. And then we go through and we send the envelope. Okay, so that was module 1. Now, module 2, we moved into adding even more value. So what we're doing here, if you remember, we are monitoring the envelope for the event change, and we're looking for the completed envelopes. We're then getting the documents out of that envelope in the DocuSign ecosystem, and then what we're doing is creating a folder and then uploading those files into a SharePoint document library. Again, bringing everything back into SharePoint and using the functionality that we want to use out of SharePoint. And that leads us now today to module number 3. So in module number 3, let's have a look at what we're going to build. Again, we are going to be monitoring for the status of an envelope to change. We're going to get the recipients of that envelope. We're then going to loop through those if there's multiple recipients. But what's good about this is we're automating an email sequence here. And there's 2 types of emails that we're going to be sending out. The second one is going to also include an approval process. So you're going to learn how to insert an approval process to that to this flow as well. And then depending on the output of that, we will then send an onboarding email, in our case, in this scenario, to our new hire with all the information and links to relevant things that they need to know. So let's dive in and get cracking with module number 3. So here we are in Power Automate, and we're going to create an automated cloud flow. All right, so we'll select automated cloud flow. I'm going to skip this step here. We're taken to our editor. Now, again, what we're going to do is we're going to search for DocuSign because we want to use that as the trigger. So we'll go DocuSign, and then we'll say when an envelope status changes, okay? And then we need to select our account, obviously, like we have been doing. So I'm just going to change over to the correct account for our purposes here. We'll select Megan, and this here will add a connect name. Let's just go welcome email sequence. And we will go, again, we're going to monitor the completed event. So now we've got our trigger set up. Next step and the next action we want to take is we need to list out our recipients, okay? So again, I'm just going to look for DocuSign, and we'll select this action. little connector, and we want to list recipients. That's the action that we want to take here. Again, let me just check my connections. We'll jump into Megan. The folder we're going to set for inbox, like so, and the envelope is, we're going to pass in the envelope ID from the above step here, which is this one here. Okay. Now, the next thing we need to do is send a thank you email. So we're going to add in a new step, and let's choose Office 365 Outlook, and we're going to go send email. All right. So send email V2. And we're going to say to, and let's add some dynamic content here because we want to pass in the recipient or the signer's email address. Okay, so let's pass in the signer's email address. Now this automatically adds an apply to each loop here because there could be multiple people involved in this signature process. So we've got the subject. Let's add the name of the person. So we'll go signer's name. And we'll go, let's just type in your signature has been received. And let's type in a little bit more information in the body here. So we'll go hello, and we'll whack in again their name. Great to have you on board as part of the team. And then please, because what we're going to do is we're going to send another email after an approval. So please look out for a follow-up email with onboarding instructions. Okay, so we're going to leave it like that. Okay, so now just to recap, we're waiting for the status to change to completed. We're going to list the recipients out, and then we're going to send this initial email. Now, the next action or the next step we're going to add in here is we're going to start an approval. All right, start approval, and we're going to choose this one here. So the approval type is, we're just going to wait for the first to respond. Okay, and the title, let's go, should we send welcome emails? Question mark, and we can assign that to somebody. I'm just going to assign that to, let's assign it to Megan. Megan, and we shall search, there she is, and then the details, let's put subject, and let's just pop in the email subject from the previous step, and then we'll go envelope. We'll also add in the envelope ID here too. Envelope ID, and that will do us there. Okay, then we need to add in a condition. All right, so we need to add in a condition, and we will say if the outcome, let's just have a look here. What have we got? Response, if the outcome is equal to approve, let's again send our welcome emails. So let's go send an email, and again what we're going to do is we are going to add dynamic content. We're going to go for the signer's email. So we'll go signer's email, again pops it into an apply to each, and let's go welcome aboard, and we'll type out, let's just pop in their name. Here is your welcome pack, and we can type out the body of our email. Okay, hello, and let's just pop in the dynamic content for name again. Please follow the instructions provided in this link, and that could link off to an instruction page. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. Now, if it's no, what we might just do is let's just terminate this, right? So we might just end this here, and we'll just say cancelled. All right, so we'll just choose cancelled there, and we should now be all set and ready to go. So let's save this. And what we'll do now is let's run this sequence from start to finish, okay? So what we need to do first, now as we can see on the screen, this flow, the approvals database hasn't been provisioned in this tenant yet. So you may get this as well. So we need to run this flow to initiate the provisioning. So we'll do that first. We'll come back and then we'll start from start to finish the entire process. All right, so the approval service is now successfully provisioned in our environment. Let's test this process out from start to finish. So remembering back, we need to add an item to this list to trigger everything off. So we're in the operations site, we're in the recruitment tracker list. Let's add a new item and we'll kick things off. So let's go Alex Wilbur. Let's fill all of this out. So we'll go progress. Let's go offer sent. Recruiter can be Nesta, and we'll just fill out a few bits and pieces here. We won't worry about any of these dates. And we need to get Alex's email address. So let me just pop over and grab his email address, and then we'll pop his details in like there. And let me just grab it. There it is. We'll pop his candidate email. That's not it. Let's copy that into there and we'll save that off. All right, so that's going to trigger off the first part of our process. So if we open up our flow, we'll go to My Flows and we'll open up this first one, which is the send employment offer. Okay, so we'll open up this and let's just check the status. Hasn't started yet. But that's going to grab, once that kicks off, that will then send Alex the document out of DocuSign, create the envelope and send it across to him for him to sign. So we'll just wait for that to kick off. Okay, so that's now up and running. So the flows, it's getting the envelope, creating the envelope and sending the document for signature across to Alex. So we'll just wait for that to kick off. So that has now succeeded. Now we also have that document. So we'll drag this across again. We've seen this before. We'll review the document. We will complete this signed document. So I agree, continue. We'll scroll down and sign this, adopt and sign, finish. Now the status of this envelope is now changing. Okay, so it's now been set to complete. So we'll close this down. We'll leave Alex's open here. So there's the signature one from DocuSign. So now that the status has changed, what Alex is going to get is, first of all, a completed notification from DocuSign. Okay, so there's the completed document. Now, what we've got in the process we've got going in the background as well is an automated email. So here's that email that's coming from Megan, and it's not via DocuSign, and there's that first email that we've configured to go out. Now, what that means is Megan, and you can see that her email just triggered then too, is that we've now got an approval process, because remembering we've got that approval step in that flow too, once we're ready to send that welcome email. So that was the first one. This is the onboarding one. So let's approve this and we'll submit. And now that's going to trigger the second email that Alex will receive. And this is the onboarding one. So you can provide whatever other information that you need in that secondary email to that person that's being onboarded, links to resources and next steps in the process and things like that. All right. So that now is a fairly complete process. So just recapping what we've covered and what we have now set up. If I jump back into Power Automate and I'll go to My Flows, we've got 3 flows. They're all independent, but they all tie in together, and they can be brought out and separated and configured and inserted into any other type of process that you've got. The first one is the sending of the employment offer. So when a new item's added to that SharePoint or that Microsoft list, the employee tracker in that site, it's going to create the envelope, send the envelope, get the files and from the SharePoint site that we're using as the templates repository, and send that across to the applicant. Once the status changes, so we've got 2 other flows in play here. So the first one was when the status changes, get the document, create a folder in the completed document library and insert the documents into there. And then the second one, on completion of the signed document, we then send that first email, okay? And then we add an approval process. And then once that's approved, we send that welcome onboarding email. So there we have it, part 3, done and dusted. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.